Let's just take a collective breath, shall we? It has been an eventful week, an eventful weekend, and sometimes we just need to collectively relax. But again, welcome. And yesterday I was getting ready to come to the celebration of life, and I was running around with a can of dry hair shampoo, like shh. And if any of you have ever done it, you tip it over and you stand up and you have this big hair. And Luke comes around the corner and he says, well, look at you. 3. I go, well, thank you. And he goes, you're going to do something with that hair? My 3-year-old. And then Esty, who's learning to talk, just goes, gala. So if anybody knows that language, please see me after. I appreciate it. So I just thought I would tell you that funny story because, out of the mouths of kids sometimes can be our joke for the day. I was perusing Instagram and I came upon this fellow that I actually really like, and he's a writes movies, writes plays and things, and was looking for a new way to creatively express himself. And I find his conversations with the universe to be very profound, and I've just really enjoyed them. So I asked Clay if we could cue one of those up today to start the talk. Go ahead, Clay.
You're hesitant. It's not even the creating I'm afraid of. It's what they'll think after I've created it. You confine your greatness to fleeting opinions. What if they hate it? What if they love it? What if they laugh? Or they applaud? Either way, their reactions are just echoes that fade. What matters is the act itself, the joy of creation, your ideas and being flowing into the world. That is eternal. I know. You're right. But I still feel that fear. Fear will always whisper. Let it. But it does not guide your hand. Then what does? Honesty. And if it's not how I envisioned, it just turns out to be a complete mess. What if the mess is exactly what the world needs? What if it's exactly what you need? Perfection isn't the goal. Expression and connection is. I still have my doubts. Good. Use it. Write the doubts if you must. Paint the fears. Play and sing the pain, the joy, the aches, and the love. Just create. What matters is not what they see, but what you let out. I'll start. Start. Share. Love what you do, and let it go. Like a star casting its bright light into the vast galaxy. It will find who needs it most. And in the process, you'll find yourself.
Beautiful message, right? Yeah. That's like a part 7 of I think like a 22 part of his conversations with the universe. And I really thought, what would it be like to have a conversation with the universe? And the talk title came to me, Living Beyond the Persona We Create, and the weight of masks. And I thought, if we are truly destined to create, then what is stopping us from creating? And that video came, and I love the end because we're all those bright lights. We're all that energy already. We're all in tune because we're all already that. And the thing that often gets in our way are the masks that we wear. So have you ever walked into a room and felt like you had to be somebody else? Maybe you're the fixer, always solving everyone's problems, or the achiever, constantly pushing to suppress your own, to prove your self-worth. And if you're the peacemaker, then you're suppressing your own feelings to keep the peace. These masks, they become second nature, and they're heavy, aren't they? I don't know about you, but in my life, I've recognized that I wear these masks quite often. And being the middle child, I was the peacekeeper. And therefore, peacekeepers often lead to people pleasers. And the weight of a people pleaser is quite heavy. They disconnect us from who we truly are. They take a lot of energy away from being present to the current situation at hand. Imagine, if you would, somebody who's always funny in their friends or constantly cracking jokes. I can relate. And really what they're doing often is deflecting their own insecurities. Deep down, they may feel sad or lonely, and the mask of humor sometimes becomes their shield. And these masks are created from our upbringing, from our socialization, from the things we witness our parents do, conversations they have when they don't know we're watching, from being in groups and being made to feel like we're not enough, being in school and maybe somebody really excels at math and you really just bite the dust at it. And I remember one time when I was in maybe the 4th or 5th grade, and I didn't know that I struggled with dyslexia, ADD. They really didn't talk about those things when I was that young. And the teacher was doing the math, and I thought, don't call on me, don't call on me, don't call on me. And you would have to stand up in the front of the classroom and do 1 times 1 is 1, times. And of course, I'm sitting there saying, don't call on me, don't call on me, don't call on me. So what happens? So I stand up and I'm frozen and she is just, yelling them at me. And I couldn't get it out of my mouth. It still makes me emotional. This mask, it carries into our adulthood. It impedes our ability to be on purpose for what we're doing.
Excuse me.
Thank you. Being vulnerable and open yields to moments like this. And it takes a lot of courage to take the mask off and be vulnerable and open. And usually we can tell when the mask is on because we're defensive and we blame or there's a lot of shame. My mascara is running, I know. And in moments like these, we miss the connection with the other. It doesn't always excuse the behavior of the other, but it allows us to be present and pause. It allows us to be present. Thank you, Nancy. Thank you. It allows us to see the work that needs to be done, not only the inner work, but if we're trying to come together as a community, as a group to achieve a goal, it sees where we fit in. And taking off the mask it's a very vulnerable, like I said, very vulnerable place. So I thought, what would it sound like if we talked to the universe about this issue? What wisdom would it share with us if I asked the question that was weighing on my heart? So the first question was, why we wear the masks? Well, the response was, they help us feel safe, accepted, worthy when we fear rejection or judgment. On goes the mask. They often, the universe says, form in our early childhood, shaped by our experiences, like I said, in our family, our environments. So I said to the universe, why do I feel like I have to keep pretending to be somebody that I'm not? And the universe said, because you've forgotten, beloved, that you don't, need to prove yourself. The masks you wear are not who you are. They're who you thought you needed to be to feel safe, accepted, and worthy. An example, a child who grows up in an alcoholic household might take on the caretaker role to keep the peace, constantly attending to the needs of others while neglecting their own. As an adult, they may still feel the compulsion to care for others at the expense of their own well-being. I thought, what questions would help us reflect on this? What role or masks do you find yourself playing? How might it connect to an old need for safety, acceptance, and approval, and then allowing it to fall away? It's scary to let go of all the ways you protect yourself. You open yourself up to what you think is criticism, but what you see is the other is probably wearing a mask too. And there's this projection going on, and the defensiveness starts, and the love that wishes to be revealed in that moment is stifled. It doesn't go away. It's just not recognized. And then we walk away, putting on another mask going, oh my God, I did it again. Oh my God, I feel so silly. Oh my God, and then the shame and the blame starts. And we go home and we try to do the inner work and we sit, and I don't know about you, but I could have a good cry when I feel like I've been a little foolish or I've said something that maybe hurt someone's feelings or typically for me that made me look a certain way. So there's a cost to the mask. Maintaining these personas comes at a very, very, very high cost. It drains our energy. It's like, have you when they do the exercise and they're testing your stamina and they say, stand with your arm up like this, or lean against the wall, and don't, in the military they make you lean against the wall and you can't move, and all of those lactic acids are moving and your back hurts, and that's what it's like to carry the mask. All the feelings are somewhere in your body. It keeps us from forming deep, authentic connections with the people around us, the places that Spirit has called us to. It disconnects us from our true self. So the universe says, I ask the universe, but what happens if I let them go? Won't I feel exposed and unsafe? And the universe says, vulnerability is not weakness. I had to do the voice. Vulnerability is not weakness. It is the gateway to your true self. The energy you spent holding up these false selves is what truly has been holding you back. And letting go of them, we have this fear that something's going to happen. But the saying, like, if you focus on it, you get it. It's if you keep wearing the mask, you will surely get what you're afraid to get. But if you take it off, you might actually experience something new. And something new can be quite scary to the mind. An example of this, the universe says, take someone who's a perfectionist, who carries that mask. I don't know about you, but I can relate. They strive to appear flawless in every aspect of their life, terrified of making a mistake or being judged. Can you see this little girl standing up in front of a classroom of children? It's not the teacher's fault. This is what she was taught to do. And then you decide someday, I am never going to let anybody do that to me again. I have to be absolutely perfect or hide. You just dread being judged. And over time, this relentless pursuit of perfection, it just leaves us exhausted and disconnected from our joy. Joy is our truth. It isn't somewhere out there. We often think, I got to go this to be joyful, or let me go to this concert to be joyful. Now, the truth is the concert brings up the joy that is already you, because the masks fall away when we are present. So often when we're in music or poetry or nature, there's no need for the mask. So we're already present. So that feeling that is there is your truth. That is yourself. And then we get up and we go somewhere and we see someone and someone says something and the mask goes back on, like the movie, right? Like the mask, the movie. So the reflective question the universe had for me was, What is it costing you to maintain this mask? What would you gain if you allowed yourself to be real? What would we gain if we allowed ourselves to be real, if we put it down? He says the gift of letting go is freedom. Freedom to live authentically. Freedom to connect deeply within yourself and others. Freedom to simply be. Doesn't that sound beautiful? To simply be. To not get caught in the story and the thoughts and the worry and the things that make us want to go home and throw up sometimes, like when we just are really embarrassed and we don't know what to do, we don't know where to turn. And what I do is usually get on the phone to get all that and call one of my safe friends to get all that yucky feeling out of my stomach. And what the universe says is, just sit down. Lean on me. Count on me. Trust. Develop your faith. Faith and trust are cousins, They mean the same thing. You have to have trust to have faith. So I say to the universe, but who am I without these roles? And what if people don't accept the real me? The universe says, you are spirit and form, whole, limitless, and already enough. Some people may leave, let them. But those who truly see your light will draw you closer. Trust that your truth is the gift that the world needs. Your truth, each and every one of you, is the gift that the world needs. But we must show up. We must show out. We must remove to grow and to flourish and to communicate. Example is a professional who's built their identity around being the expert, fear of losing respect if they admit that they don't have all the answers. Again, sometimes that's really hard for me. But when we allow ourselves to say, I don't know, the discovery of vulnerability strengthens the relationship and it inspires trust between you and the other, and it allows them space to show up and to give it their best. Everyone is doing their best. Very few of us know when we're wearing the masks. Most often other people can tell. But if we're not open to it, I don't suggest going up and telling someone you're wearing a mask, by the way. But if we saw our own mask and we discovered how to just take it off for a moment, we could see the miracle of presence and the freedom and the freedom of the birth of the universe inside of your chest, the light that can express from you. The universe says you can start with practical steps, Tracey. Start with stillness. The greatest teaching is in the stillness because there are no words to evoke or kick off the story. The highest teaching is in the stillness. Ask yourself, when I am not trying to please or prove, what would be the result? Begin to release one mask at a time by practicing honesty with yourself and others. Coming home to yourself is a difficult process. But I was told if you have the desire, that law, which is love, cannot deliver, right? It must, let's put it this way, it must deliver the way for you. Often fear gets in the way of us asking, and how we can tell we're wearing masks is the pain and the suffering that pulls. It's telling you you're not in alignment and that something is out of whack. And often we look at others and we go out, but it doesn't remove the responsibility of other people, but it allows you to show up, to speak your truth, to say, hey, that really hurt. Hey, thank you. Hey, please don't do that. It allows us to draw boundaries in a proper and loving way. So just imagine dropping the mask one by one and feeling the lightness and openness. I just invite you into this space where we look at closing our eyes and just thinking about if you identify with one of these things, or maybe you know your own mask. Just, if you will, just picture yourself taking it off and following your breath and feeling the freedom, and where the nervous tension comes and the hurriedness of which we want to put it back on. If you took that mask off, the one that makes you feel the need to perform or perfect or defend, what would become possible for you? The final conversation with the universe. I say, so I just let go? The universe says, yes, beloved, let go. Drop the mask. Do you feel lighter, freer, more connected to the divine flow of life? Step into the light. It is where you've always belonged and where you truly live. I invite you this week to journal. There are journal sheets out there and many more masks that we wear, and how to tell if you're wearing them and some of the feelings that come up. I invite you for these questions, which again are on the sheet. You know, what masks or roles do I wear most often? What emotions or fears are driving them? What is one small way I can begin to release the mask and let my light shine? Here's a powerful quote from Ernest Holmes to wrap us up today. The divine plan is one of freedom. Bondage is not God ordained. Freedom is the birthright of every living soul. As we shed the masks we've worn and let go of the roles that have kept us in bondage, we step into the divine plan of freedom that Ernest Holmes spoke of. Freedom is our birthright. By living authentically, we honor the truth of who we are, and we embrace life at the highest level. And we live the life that we were always meant to live. As we close the celebration of life with Nancy yesterday, it was evident that she lived a life. Now, I'm not saying she didn't have difficult times. Clearly, she did. But her motto was, if you're negative, don't come around me. And it takes a lot of courage to say that, and I honor her. My last few moments with her were transforming for me. She was a gift to me on her last few days. And I would like to be a gift to you in my livingness, and for you to exchange that with me as we begin to remove the masks and live authentically in joy and become a magnetic community where people can find that truth and that light and that freedom for those lost little children that weren't told they were enough. We invite you here so we can hold you up and help you find your own way. Namaste. We'll pray here. Oh, look at all of your beautiful faces. Excuse me. This is what being vulnerable looks like. I just know right here, right now, that there is only one. That one beautiful energy, the freedom, the light, the love, the law, in all the different ways we discuss it. The reality is, it is who you really are. It is the thing that we have covered up, pushed down, ran over, pushed away. But the truth is, as we release the stories, and we call out this story is now released, as we release the pain and we call out this pain is now released, as we step into the light, like the actor at the end of a movie, letting go of its character, the light of who we are truly shines. And we carry that as often as we can and as long as we can, always noticing that it's the journey, not the destination. That love is abound It is who we are. It is our light, and we call it forth to be present in every interaction. And if we have feelings of guilt or shame, or, there's things that we need to own, we just own them and let them go, and we live big. We live large. We live, magnificent lives. It isn't what is happening, it's who we are in direct relationship to that. And if we stop and pause and call forth the light, it will surely answer whatever situation is in front of us, because it is the answer and the question. Thank you, universe, for these deep and profound thoughts. Thank you for the gift of sharing. Thank you for the light, the love, and the truth as it has been revealed. We cast our issues, our concerns, our worries into the atmosphere and let them just let them dissipate, standing forth whole and complete and owning who we are. I know this truth. I cast it into the law. I call it good. I call it done. And so it is.